We are going to dive a bit deeper into what to expect from Cyclone Biparjoy, because this is a phenomenal storm, not like what we are used to seeing in this corner of the world. What is happening is that until now the cyclone was tracking northwards towards Karachi, but the authorities say that it is making a turn to the northeast because prevailing upper level winds are steering it in that direction, and as a result it is going to make landfall here along the border between Pakistan and India. Right now the storm is quite impressive. Around its center it has wind gusts of 180 kilometers and is producing waves 30 feet high, and forecasters say expect that it will maintain its strength until landfall because of favorable environmental conditions like warm sea surface temperatures of around 30 degrees Celsius, low vertical wind shear, and upper level divergence. So far it does not look anymore like it's going to be a catastrophic threat to Pakistan, but the area in Pakistan most at risk is around the Indus Delta and KT Bandar. Karachi, of course, by now is almost certain to be spared a direct hit, but the storm's influence will extend over a wide area of Sindh, and it can cause all kinds of problems. The cities of Tata and Band and Badin, for example, they are very vulnerable because they lie along the banks of the Indus River, and they're likely to flood from a storm surge. In fact, over the years they've been facing long-term sea intrusion, and a storm surge is an event that essentially exacerbates this sort of thing, because the water can travel up the river and drown these cities. Karachi is also vulnerable from even mild effects because it's so dense and so dilapidated, so much dilapidated infrastructure. There are some buildings that can fall down under even the slightest of disturbances. So there's a lot to watch out for, and especially in this such a difficult time for Pakistan. For example, here it's saying that Biparjoy has reduced production from wind power apparently, and it's causing 12 hours of load shedding in Karachi. I don't know how that can happen, given that if there's high winds, you should expect the turbines to spin faster. But anyway, if this is happening, it must be especially serious given the energy and economic crisis that Pakistan has been in for some time. Anyway, another thing we have to watch out for is the brown ocean effect. Usually cyclones, they are fed energy from the ocean, from evaporating water, and they die out when they reach land. Scientists have noticed that for some cyclones this does not happen. They maintain their strength or even intensify after reaching land. And they usually attribute all of this to the cyclone reaching colliding weather currents and becoming an extratropical storm. But those cyclones, they have a cold core, but scientists have noticed that some cyclones, they reach land and they continue to have a warm core as they maintain their strength. And the explanation they come up for that is that it's a new explanation, is that moisture from the land is providing energy. Because if the land is wet enough and warm enough, when a cyclone passes over it, water can evaporate enough from the soil that provides a burst of energy to the cyclone, and that energy can come at a higher rate than the cyclone can get from the ocean, but only for a brief time. The thing about the ocean is that it can provide a lot of energy for a long period of time, which is how cyclones get to form in the first place. If the cyclone reaches land and is lucky enough to experience a brown ocean effect, it can experience a stronger burst of energy for a brief time that causes it to intensify and become very destructive, but that quickly is over, and then the cyclone starts to die out because it cannot sustain itself over land. This could happen with Cyclone Biparjoy. It happened with Cyclone Taute the last time a cyclone made landfall in this region. It made landfall in Gujarat in 2021, and it was a very strong storm and continued keeping its strength after it moved inland, no doubt due to the brown ocean effect. Biparjoy could do this if it reaches this region, and the brown ocean effect would be even stronger if Biparjoy makes a turn to the north and travels over the Indus basin, because there's a lot of moisture there. In my recent article, Pakistan should brace itself for a sweltering summer, I pointed out that high heat and humidity is very common in Sindh around the Indus River, and the reason is that there is a lot of moisture here from all the irrigation and from the river, and so when humid air from the Arabian Sea blows inland, it continues picking up that moisture and keeping humidity high near the surface. And this summer, this effect would be especially strong because of the catastrophic floods that happened last year, which have still left behind a lot of lingering moisture in Sindh. And those things which cause humidity in Sindh, they could also contribute to a brown ocean effect if Biparjoy passes over this area. This is an area that is reeling from last year's catastrophic floods. There's still a lot of water in the soil, and communities are very vulnerable. They're still very badly off. And so if Biparjoy penetrates this area, it could compound all of these circumstances and it could have very bad consequences. But so far it looks like it's going to head here and head straight inland for India and leaving behind peripheral effects on Pakistan. Now I hope that happens, but we have to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And I've identified all the worst things that could happen with this storm. These may not happen, these scenarios I've outlined, but there's always a possibility that they could, so we have to watch out for them. This is Raja Shahzeb Khan, and you are watching Pakistan's people-led disaster management.